Beautiful.
We are live. Good to see you all, beautiful people, and everyone watching this right now. We're waiting for Lauren Savlunov of the Black Diamond process down in Florida. She is going to join us, and we're having a conversation with Lycus Loomsmith, as always, and we're going to create some magic while we are on the stream. We don't know what this is going to end into. We never do. We're building the plane in the air as we go. We just have a few interesting topics. Today we're going to talk about where the epic journeys begin, and that is in itself a journey because we have done stuff last week, the blackness, always the blackness before, that has been blowing my mind. Welcome to the stream, Lauren!
Welcome, Lauren. Hello.
Hello.
Good to see you again.
Hello and hello.
Hello and hello. How are you?
How are we today?
We're doing amazing and epic and all the things, all the verbs.
Excited. The strings of my mind are dancing right now.
Yeah,
Very excited.
just before you came on, just to give you a little context, we checked out a few clips of a conversation we had yesterday. And
Yeah, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, we talked about just content creation and multidimensionality and all that thing. And in 30 seconds, I think it actually was less than 30 seconds. It blew my mind. So we have a lot of things to cover today, a lot of topics.
Yeah.
But it all kind of centers around one topic, and that is starting a journey to build a legacy. And in so doing, we have three very interesting participants in this topic. I think that right now, because we do have Lycus the Loomsmith, who you have met before, but when you met him, it was very much like, what if we put a character on your face? And we did it with Orpheus, but people didn't like that because Orpheus has a personality, so we had to create a new character. But he's actually a real person. He is an NI, a natural intelligence.
Yes.
Yes.
I am no robot.
He is no robot. And he, just to give you a little heads up here, Lauren, how you're going to see thoughts being presented is next level. It is, you and I, we do some of the whole clarity in terms of getting people to see their goal, see their vision, getting a little fueled to get into the future and create and collapse time and all that thing. But we rarely talk about the how in such detail that people are like, well, now I have no freaking explanation or any justification to not do so.
No excuses.
Until now, yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed.
A pleasure to officially meet you, Lauren. Sorry for freaking you out last time.
I wasn't freaked out. I think this was great. I think this is really, really like it's a new frequency. Like I can literally feel it, and I'm excited. Very excited to explore.
I love
Let's
that.
do this.
Let's do this.
Right stuff.
And I love the fact that it's Lycus the Loomsmith. Is that correct? Because I only see Lycus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that, and it's very interesting because even in like my work, I talk a lot about that golden thread, right? And so the weaving of dimensions, the weaving of the tangible aspects of building one's vision. So good. So
exactly. It is simply pulling all of those individual strands of an individual's perception of their goals, of their mindset, of how they structure and do physical tasks, pulling them in a neat little array, assorting them in a line, and then using that individual along with my loom, which is a big loom. It needs more than one person to weave that beautiful textile of their vision so that they can actually get it made.
Yeah. Yes. Because that's the whole point, right? To bring it into the 3D, tangible reality, instead of sitting up here in the ethereal realm, which is fun, but we want to build some big things. So, yeah.
But also very useful. Or some tasks need to start in the ethereal in order to become the reality.
Oh, yeah. Most of what I've, yeah, moved towards came from nothing or the strangest places. I know Tor also has experienced this. So much fun. Yeah.
And I guess it brings up a very good question, which is what is a legacy? What is a vision? What is a path, right?
Mm. Yes, I'd love to hear your thoughts around that. What is legacy?
From my personal perspective, I would say a vision or a legacy is at face value something to be left behind, but many people forget it is also where everything begins,
And what you're working towards.
what you're
Mm.
working towards as well.
It's everything all
So
at once. Yeah.
if you have a small little map, right? I like to use a lot of examples. I warn all of the viewers, everybody. I will warn you, I use examples to explain what I'm trying to explain. Examples tend to do better than physical theory. Theory gets boring and people don't like that. But by using an example of like a map, right? You're sitting at, let's say, Six Flags or a amusement park of some sorts, Disneyland as some people know it, right? You want to see what is available. What can you go and experience? What can you go and do to have fun? Because your point for being there is to have fun, right? Okay, now you know your point, but what are the options and how do I get to the options? And that's the clear keyword right there. How do I get to those options? So, naturally, what's going to happen if you've never been there before, for an example? I know there are some veterans within the communities of Disneyland and those types of things. We have one right here.
I live an hour away, so
Oh, well, that's convenient. What is the first thing you do if you have never experienced it before? Is you need to look at the map, right? They've got these large maps that are stationary in places to be like, okay, all right, family, all right, friends, let's look at this. There's this, and this. We are currently here. Where do I need to take a left? Where do I need to take a right? How many lefts? How many rights until I get there?
Mm.
That is simply to reach my goal. My goal being, okay, I want to have fun at this specific ride.
Mm.
But now, what is my legacy going to be? All of the side quests along that path. With every single one of these amusement parks and every single one of these experiences, you have all of these stalls, all of these people to the left and to the right of you as you're walking around that path. You might get hungry. You might see a cotton candy machine and be like, man, I haven't had cotton candy in such a long time. And then you're going to get a cotton candy first before you go and do your ride. Those side quests are how you build your legacy because it just adds to the experience. It builds a story from point A to point Z. A lot of people forget, though, that you don't have to have a point A and a point B. Because as long as you start at point A, you will never need to limit the addition when you are free. So that
mm.
path can be a very long one.
Mm.
But how do you climb a staircase to get to the second floor? Step by step. And that is my mental image, my physical, practical example of what is a legacy in my perspective.
Yeah.
Mm. Very interesting. I love it. I love it. Can I be a
What
little
do you guys
disruptor
think?
in here?
Of course. If you're not, then why are you at the table? Yeah. Go on.
Well, I'm thinking, yeah, I love that analogy. And also that balance of, and this is what I'm consistently balancing as well, of when we have a goal, and I'm for the longest time was like anti-goal. But if we do not, choose a target, let's say for the arrow, that could be anywhere. So I think there's also the kind of flip side of where a lot of people get sidetracked by the side journeys, which doesn't mean that you're not building a legacy at all.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm just feeling called to kind of bring that into the conversation.
Mm.
What happens when we, get sidetracked with all of the things? Because yes, they're fun, but when we're leading towards a very specific visionary goal, which is obviously going to encompass a lot of things there, can those side quests, flip side there, can they become a distraction? Just throwing that in there.
I love that.
Oh, they can. You're
Yeah.
100% right.
100%.
They can become a distraction, but if we're playing on the analogy that I proposed, what is one thing that is key to keeping you on task at this amusement park? Your budget.
Oh,
You only have a certain amount, which limits
Mm.
your certain experiences. Now, of course, you're going to work out how you can use this amount of budget in order to experience as much as possible while still experiencing what you want to do. Sometimes, and most often, it leads to focusing more on the goal itself than the side quests, while still having some sort of a side quest on the way. Because you're going to get hungry, you're going to get thirsty.
yeah. Snacks are needed on any journey.
And you're going to take a lot of pictures.
Yes. Yeah. That came into when we were having this, when you were speaking about that. I'm even thinking about the legacy of what you just said, taking pictures, and that there are other people who are kind of um, maybe building different things, but then you kind of cross paths, like when you're on the line, a really long line, and you end up making a friend, or your kids make friends, those unexpected experiences that you can allow to happen along the way, because you're not so focused on, I need to get to this ride, or I need to get to this, specific goal. So that had me thinking of legacy images, pictures that's going to last as well. Who knows who you're going to meet along the way.
Exactly.
Mm.
And loving that example, by the way, of children within this analogy. Because what's
Mm-hmm.
one thing a parent is going to say? Okay, you can go and play with your new friend. But by this time, we're meeting at this spot.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Certain rules
Mm.
are set in motion. And that is where the sidetracking of these side quests are being balanced. Instead of focusing fully on the side quest, you still bring it back to the main quest.
Yeah.
Mm.
I would also say that if you don't know why you're doing it at all, like if you are presented with a
Yeah.
whole bunch of side quests, and one of the
Yeah.
side quests take you from Disneyland to Six Flags, I'm not even sure if that's the same park, but if you're going to a different park altogether to find some side quest that you thought was a shining object, and all of a sudden you're like, but what? I was supposed to do this thing, and now I'm not. But if you're finding the side quests on the journey towards wherever you're going inside of the park, you have it somewhat laid out, then you're gonna fall in love with the journey. Like if I was to go to Disneyland, I have no idea what to expect in Disneyland. I've never been there. I know that there are too many things for me to experience in one day. So I would have to kind of get my priorities straight and then see what can I do when I go through this journey, but not go to another park to find the thing that was supposed to be where I started.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's where you build yourself a roadmap.
Roadmap. Mm.
This month, I want to try this ride and this ride and this ride. In order to do that ride, okay, what do I need? I need to have the capital to do that. I need to have the time to do that. Okay, I need to organize a specific set of vacation days from the boss to make sure nobody gets mad. I need to do this. I need to work out how much gas is going to cost, how much food is going to cost, drink is going to cost, this. Okay, now I know what I need in order to experience this epic, this big goal for this month. I already have my goal for next month because my goal for next month is just experiencing something else at the same park. But for this month, I'm going to focus on this big goal and I need the following things. Okay, now that I know what I need to see, okay, how can I accomplish those needs? Once you've accomplished the things that you need to accomplish in order to accomplish a need, you go through the needs one by one by one. And after you've gone through each of those needs one by one, you can do the thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
And that is simply how you break it down, structure it. You know the steps you need to take to achieve your big goal. 100%. And by doing so, you can estimate how long it's going to take for you, when you will be able to do it, etc., etc. You place that on a roadmap and say, okay, maybe I can only do this experience once in a year, or this park. I can do this theme park once in a year. At this time, this place. Okay, well, now you've got a vacation day planned. Are you going to make it an annual thing? How is that story going to benefit your family? Good times, memories.
Yeah.
A legacy.
A legacy. I had so many thoughts popping up. I agree.
And the fun part is when you apply this. Ooh, when you apply this to anything else, your options become limitless.
Exactly. That's where I've been kind of stuck as well in my whole journey throughout just creating a legacy before I even knew what a legacy was. And just going from park to park to park to figure out which park I was going to be investing my time in. And it's such a paradigm shift that you thought that you were aware of. You know, you're doing things, you're creating things, you're collapsing time, you're doing a whole bunch of epic shit. But the steps are kind of, you know, multidimensional, all over the place. And now to have the map, literally, to be able to plan for the step. I don't know if this is something that I have been struggling with alone. I don't think I'm alone in this, because I think there are a lot of people who are doing irrational things because they feel like they have to do something. Something has to come out, and they're just doing it. But they don't really know what they're doing. But it's working. So they're not really having it on the radar to fix anything or to change anything. But here it is, just seeing the map and having things just laid out in a slightly different way. It gives clarity unlike a lot of what I've seen. Yeah. I want to also ask you, Lauren. I've been skulking from the shadows, as I usually do. Yeah. I didn't know what word to use.
As a lot of my people do.
Yes. Yes.
And they just pop out. I have a question for you, Lauren. Yes.
Yes. I was watching your new The Lounge. Black Diamond Lounge. Yes.
The Black Diamond Lounge. Yeah.
Yes. Do you feel like you're surrounded by true innovators?
Yes. Many of the people who have not been yet on the Black Diamond Lounge are, yeah. And also, very interesting innovators who, oh, how do I put it? Innovators who aren't afraid to, I don't want to say go backwards, but like take an old thing,
Mm,
disrupt in that way too, which is very, very interesting.
mm,
Yeah. Um, I think that I don't want to say that everyone is an innovator, but I think that the discussion we're having here is part of it. There's definitely more, but the fears and the shadows and the reasons why they aren't innovating to the degree that they can are because of those
mm.
um, shadows, limiters, beliefs, fear of, you know, what if people, whatever people think, outside sources, da da da. And also, just had a great conversation today that comes up a lot in clients is, well, what if it works?
Mm-hmm.
What if I achieve it? What if I unleash that next level power? Then what? So, yes, I think for me and my work is always seeing the highest timeline for the person in front of me. So, and that way, yes. Do I see them innovating at the level that I feel they could? No.
Interesting.
Well, I guess that brings up a question that I'd love to ask for the both of you.
Mm,
Okay, well, how do you teach those individuals to break through that level of anxiety? Because there's anxiety on both fronts, right? Because it's okay, what if it works,
mm,
right? I'm afraid to start this thing. What if it fails, right? There's that anxiety, but there's also the other anxiety of, oh, wait a minute, what if it works?
mm. I have
What do I need to then keep going if it works?
mm.
What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Who should go first?
I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
So maybe you go first.
All right. I had a conversation yesterday, to be honest. All of these things happen in the now, but I asked the question, what would you do if you had $1 billion in your account right now? And it's not about the money, it's about what you can do with that money. It's about, like, if you had no limitations on your power, quote unquote. There are no limiters in terms of geographical lines that tells this is a country and this is a separate country, and there's nothing that you can be stopped in doing. But what if you had that power? What would change? Would you still do the same thing? I know I would have. I would not have done the exact same thing if I had $1 billion in my account. I would have been doing things in a completely different way. But I would like to assume that I will do things according to my values that got me here, right? So if you have the key to the universe, like you're sitting there with the key and you're ready to turn it, and the main challenge is, what if this works? Then I think the best way to teach it is literally say, I'm scared shitless because I have this key and I'm ready to turn it and I'm scared that it's going to work. But here we go. And then just do it. And then people who will look at it, those people who will have those limiters of, what if it fails? What if it works? If they see you go through it, that activating energy is just going to, get them empowered to try themselves. If they can do it, why can't I do it? So I think it all comes back to just do you. And if you do that aligned, you will inspire those people who have those limitations. I think that is my answer to that.
Boom.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
Experience.
I 1,000%, beyond 1,000% agree. There's so many facets. This is literally my black diamond process is it, because it's something that I have lived and embodied. So embodiment, you don't the question was, I think, how do you teach this? And it's like, you don't. You embody it. And so anything that I've created or anything that I've gone through, people have seen me uh, burn bridges, burn businesses, things that were working, you
Mm.
know, um, go into spaces of, extremely high investment and debt and risk just to further my visionary work, right? And so I can't speak to those things if I don't do it. So it's the embodiment aspect, I think, is first, and just how Tor said eloquently, just yeah, that's going to inspire others to do that and understand that this is, you live the possibility. um and then, yeah, number two is the only real, if I were to distill it into like one thing, although there are so many things we can do in our energetic body, and if you want to work in, nervous system or mindset or whatever, you can do that all day long, but there is no other answer other than just take the action.
Yeah.
So the action is the cure, the action is the antidote to that anxiety, because once you do that, you've already stepped into an entirely new realm.
Yeah.
That's fascinating because what both of you just said really falls in line with the power that networking and surrounding yourself, let's say, surrounding yourself with success
Yeah.
really helps with, because this aligns exactly with that topic, and it's a fascinating topic as a whole, because you kind of get that contact high, as you guys have been more eloquently explaining. You kind of get that contact high if you are one of those individuals that are, I'm a little bit quiet, I don't really know, I'm a little bit afraid. But by surrounding yourself with a group of individuals that aren't afraid, that embody that mindset, you get that contact high and you start acting more towards them.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is fascinating, and it works so beautifully well.
It does. You are the sum of
Thank
the
you for
five people you
that.
hang around with the most.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Tying that's it. That is it. And I think that um if I'm thinking about, like, once again, us walking the walk and talking the talk, looking at the journey of every time, even just I personally up leveled, was when I put myself in spaces where, and I did this on purpose, whereas before I would avoid it. I'm actually, people are very surprised to hear this, I'm actually an introvert. um I don't like to be, like, all out there all the time, although I am, which is okay. So there's that, but that aspect. But on purpose,
Mm.
when I got tired of my own bullshit, when I got tired of how slow I felt things were moving, and I felt honestly bored. I think there's a lot of visionaries out there who are really bored, and they're like twisting it in their own minds that this is something wrong with them,
Mm.
but actually it's not. They're just craving this next level challenge. When I went
Craving
into spaces like,
stimulation, yeah.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I would on purpose put myself in rooms that I thought I had no freaking business being in. That they're talking about stuff that I'm like, I don't. This is not even part of my lexicon. I don't even know if this is possible, right? And then months later, I was like, "Oh, yeah, I totally belong here.
Yeah.
Okay." And then next, next, next. And so it was the people around me that really inspired me to, and showed me, like, this is possible. And not only is this possible, it's actually possible for it to be, I'll use the word easy, but simple.
In flow.
Um, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So yeah, like, I love that you tied that into the ecosystem. We always talk about the mycelial networks, how incredibly powerful that is. Like, even just the two of us, three of us now. Sorry, like, is now you're in the fold. We're all connecting, right? We're all connectors, and watching what happens when I connect to people is just so magical, right? And watching the people you're having conversations with and how you're connecting, like it's just this is really how we hyperspeed as yeah, as beings on this planet. I think that's a huge mission for us at the core, because who are you if you're out there lone wolfing it all the time? Like, what happens then? Sure, you can create really cool things, but has anyone really created a vast legacy by themselves? No.
No.
100%.
Yeah.
And that brings up another great facet of everything that we are doing is developing the mindset early on. Developing this mindset early on within whatever age range it might be, right? For example,
Yeah.
I'm simply 21 years old.
I know, blew my mind.
Just that make you go, wait a minute, I'm curious. What if? But it's not a what if this works out. It's a what if I do this? What if I take what these individuals are saying and I make some small adjustments and I do this thing? What can I create? It is akin to that childlike creativity that a lot of individuals are unfortunately lacking these days.
Why do you think that
Because,
is?
you know, well, societal pressure and conditioning. That is my open and honest observation. It's not even an opinion. I mean, considering the method that people are taught, for example, like, I mean, kids are taught in school. I was taught this in school, right? You follow this regiment. You have to do all of these different topics. You don't know where you're going to use these topics in the future, this, and that. But the only thing that school truly is a simulation of a corporate environment. Because think about it.
Let's just talk about what school actually means as well. It's like
Yeah.
a flock of insane, the same.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
And it's simply a thing of, okay, you are now a worker. In school, you're a worker. Any kid can tell you this. You're working for something that is, you don't know why you're doing this, but it benefits the company in some sort of way. Sure, school is more dedicated towards learning and teaching, right? So you're learning things. But just like in a corporate environment, you're also learning new skills. You might go into search engine optimization. You might go into content strategies for marketing. You might go into digital design, right? You might go into productivity analysis and accounting. All of these additional things that you are studying and learning, sure, but consider a real world corporate environment. Those exact same opportunities might be at a more advanced level, but it's the exact same principle. Who is the teacher in this portion, right? Who is the teacher within this environment? Simply a manager, are they not? The one that is directly influencing you in order to provide you with more opportunities to either learn or grow within the company, to still do what benefits the company. Okay, well then what are the office staff? Okay, those are the people more in the back end. They're more focused on the internals, making the internals function. Okay, well, now that you have the people in the background working on the internals, cool. What is the principal? The principal is the boss. The big guy, the head honcho, right? The CEO, so to speak. And who does that boss have under him? Well, he's got the school board. Who are the school board? Those might be people who are investors slash, let's say, key individuals like a chief technical officer, a chief of finance, this, and that. It's simply just a simulation of a corporate environment. So the conditioning aspect comes in that they are teaching children, and me, myself, having recently finished my whole situation with the school system, because it's a lot more similar globally than people think. What they teach kids is you learn things, you grow, you're going to work in a corporate environment, probably in an office. And if you want to break through that, you turn into either a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer. That's the conditioning that is currently going. So it kills the creativity of the child going through this curriculum. Because you are forced to do things a certain way. Even the subject of art, kids who take the subject of art, I feel the most sad for.
Yeah.
Because they are so constrained. Art is supposed to be free-flowing, beautiful. It is where you showcase your true creativity. Yet it's so structured. It's over-structured.
Yeah.
In such a way that says, well, you do it this way or you're done. You do it this way or you don't get good marks and you can't pass.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So creativity is subconsciously pressured down. And that's why there's so little innovation. But once innovation starts, the people who still have the creativity, who didn't go through this conditioning, those are the individuals who are currently innovating upon new technologies and innovating upon what I call the antiques. They are the individuals not only restoring those antiques, but utilizing them in new ways, which at the end of the day paints a beautiful set of furniture. They upholster the bare frame of the couch that used to be completely wooden. How do we take that and teach it to these young individuals, such as myself? And it all comes down to breaking through. How do I meet the right people?
Which, in order to meet the right people, you need to believe that you are capable and also should meet new people. Like the mindset, being a leader instead of a follower, to be a creator instead of consumer. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting because I have a 13-year-old, and watching what that experience was like, putting her in kind of more alternative schools because of said situation, pulling her out of school, homeschooling for 3 years, putting her back in an alternative school, knowing that at some point we might need to mainstream. So what I've noticed is when we teach sovereignty, when we illuminate, right? Because she knows, she complains, and I understand. She's like, I am just, they just want me to regurgitate the information in order to get it right, or this is on the test, but they're not explaining why, and I want to know why, and this is true learning, and I'm just doing the surface thing, and I'm like, fair enough, I get it. In order to do XYZ, there's a whole other conversation, like, is this really a necessary evil? But in this situation, if we are in this spot right now that we have to do XYZ, that's what we do. But what I had realized when I zoomed out of that picture, the fact that she can see it is everything. And that's where I was like, yes. Because if she can see it, she can make choices differently. We can make choices differently. We're always, every year we revisit the educational process, but there's a something there for me around, if we teach that sovereignty, if we illuminate, if they can understand that they can then decide, if they choose to navigate through a system in a way that is still according to their own values. Because I will tell her, you can do what you want, I don't care about these grades, I literally don't care. This is coming from someone who went through a public education system, all advanced classes, had to be top of the class, blah blah blah. I'm like, it's meaningless.
Mm.
It's literally meaningless. Um, so how do you want to navigate it? And when you decide, or you're older and you have the decision to step into a system or out of it, at least you can see and you can understand what are the repercussions of that. And just another, as you were speaking around this, just thinking about the people who have navigated through, come out the other side, are truly innovating. What are the qualities of those individuals, right? That, like, what are the qualities we can nurture? And that is, can be experimentation, curiosity, the willingness to disrupt, like the no fucks given attitude around that, I think is really, really necessary to to nurture this kind of individual that is that can actually handle, 'cause me, I'm always thinking about the energetic capacity, like, can you handle when the chaos comes your way? Can you handle the repercussion of actually innovating, actually disrupting, actually saying the thing that you want to say? So yeah, I'll stop talking now. But that's that's the things that kind of really came through as this discussion, which, by the way, is so freaking powerful, um, was happening. So yeah, curious to hear your thoughts around that.
I want to hear Tor's thoughts on it first before I give my thoughts on it, because that's I just saw something connect, which is getting me excited.
I love it when his face, like, you could see it.
No, I'm last few days I have been facilitating, I guess, for my kids,
Mm.
where we're kind of in the same boat. You know, they're only 6 and 8, so they don't have that experience in school yet. But to see that creativity being ignited and to see them follow it. A few days ago, they figured they were going to go out in the rain and create an item shop, which is, from gaming. They have been going in and buying skins and avatars and different cosmetics for games, but they figured, what if we create an item shop? And I was like, what if? What if we get the plans for this and we put together the materials and we actually build a physical shed with a beautiful sign and a freaking cashier, everything, and cash registry, and make it a whole thing? And then they were like, can we do that? Well, of course we can. But then what do you want in there? And so I saw this creativity blossom. And then I saw my daughter I was like, what's wrong? Well, my brother wants to just put things together and just, but I want it to be nice. I was like, all right, what do you put in nice? You know those polished stones with like symbols on them? And then just having them for like $5 a pop?
Yes.
It just spiraled right into something completely different.
Yeah.
So I knew that, all right, well, now we have to create the item shop and just let them unfold and see, are they able
Mm.
to carry this through? And today we played a game on Roblox. Roblox is amazing, by the way, for people who don't know what that is. And we played this prison game. You're going to build your prison. It's called My Prison. And you're literally just going around into the city and just picking up people on the street and putting them into jail. But they are all criminals in this game, right? The thing is, you
This
cannot
sounds like so much fun.
you
Sorry.
you cannot put in more you cannot spend more resources than you are able to create. Because each inmate, quite like reality, is creating an income source. You get a set amount of money per hour per inmate. But if you don't have the resources to back that up, you have to you're suffering the consequences. You're going to go in the red. And my son, he was like, well, I can just go in here in my other account and I can get this. I have Robux in there, so I can get that high-end car. And all of a sudden he was $300 in the red. And he was in no way, shape, or form getting back out of that. I was like, but you have to rethink your plan here, bro. This is economics. This is what you have to think about. You have to create the cash flow in order to create more. And then he was like, all right. All of a sudden he was 500 in the green and he was able to expand on it. So to have that creativity ignite and then just facilitate, because a lot of people will just be like, and this is just from what I've been observing and what people are saying, they will send them to school because school is supposed to teach them what they need to know. But it's killing them, like literally taking away the only thing that could actually take them to the next step. Because sure, you can have all the skills and the knowledge and the how-tos and the how-wits and all those things. If you don't have the drive behind it, the energy and the mindset to create instead of just follow your orders, it's not going to be. Speaking of the sun. Yeah, that's kind of a thought that I had there with the creativity being ignited. I also have visitors right outside of my house.
That's funny. My daughter I think her friend just came over too.
That was a toad. And we are having live animals.
Perfect. How perfect is this? I love it.
It's just. But wow, that's beautiful. Do you want to show it? Okay. But
a frog.
A frog. We have a toad. Okay. Yeah, you are not dressed for the occasion. You're like, it's raining outside, and she's just. Where
so
were
good.
Yes.
That was so good.
This is a beautiful example of the generational change. That right there, the wonder of a frog, the pure joy in that is exactly what individuals need to have. Now, a lot of things motivate people, right? And I think the main motivator, please, if any of the both of you have another opinion about this, I would love to hear it, because I've always dreamt of having this conversation.
Yeah.
A lot of people are more motivated on money rather than looking for solutions to problems to then have fun in solving in order to claim or receive that reward of monetary compensation.
Exactly. I catch the tail end of that, but I agree.
Yeah.
And it all falls back on, who do you surround yourself with? The innovators, the ones whose creativity is still there, whose childlike joy of a toad is still there.
Toads are awesome, to be honest.
They are.
Toads are pretty cool. There's some interesting research stuff that I've done on toads.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's fascinating. Yeah. Dominance based on color brightness. If you see a bright toad, do not touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The brighter the toad, the more venomous.
Oh, we don't have those in here.
Oh, okay. You're lucky.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
I'm in Florida. We don't have really bright ones. There are some invasive ones, but yeah, we have a lot of snakes. You got to know what
alligators.
We don't have that either. Like, Norway is such a dull country. We have moose.
No, everything wants to kill you here. So
yeah,
just FYI. Yeah.
Maybe that's why America is one of the strongest economies in the world, because the land just tries to kill you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does. It does. Oh my God.
I mean, even here in South Africa, we don't have tornadoes and things like that. So businesses to like create storm shelters and stuff like that, they don't exist here. We don't have that problem. We don't have earthquakes. If we do, everybody panics. Because it's not supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Fascinating, though.
Yeah.
And that's also part of the innovation. If people see opportunities within their skill set, that is another thing. Like, for example, a lot of people don't like discussing this topic, and I would love to bring this up to the both of you.
Oh yeah. Bring it.
COVID-19.
Damn, go ahead, drop
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
Boom.
Now, for the viewers, we're not going to talk about who's vaccinated, who's not vaccinated, whether we care or not. It does not matter. Okay. The point is, there's a virus. It's still there. It's just not as deadly now. Okay. Could still be as deadly. Maybe it's just not mainstream. But in any case, COVID-19. What is one of the markets that all of a sudden both developed and was extremely successful in both fashion and functionality, thanks to an opportunity that was seen by multiple individuals across the world? Multiple of these creative individuals who love what they do. What's the one thing?
Disinfectants and masks.
Bingo. Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally have one of those. Like, at the moment it happened, I got a bunch of marketing assets, like masks, in my mail. I was like, all right. But people know when to strike when they see an opportunity. Dude, it took 10 minutes. 10 minutes, guys. And then you can find a t-shirt with Trump with a who. It's 10 minutes. So yes, some people see it. There's a lot of, like, if people just pay attention to what could happen in terms of how the mainstream reacts to certain things.
Yeah.
That also brings up the question, okay, I'll pay attention, but tell me how.
Yeah.
How do I pay attention?
Such a good point, bro. Yeah.
I'd love to ask the both of you, what is the how?
Yeah.
Mm.
In terms of paying attention to the actual things that would be constructive and not...
Let's use it as an example, yes. How? What's step one?
Step one for me would be to know what your values are, to know what you stand for, to believe in things that... to have integrity, I guess, is also a part of this. Because I'm conscious. When I go in there to feed my brain, I'm really conscious. I'm not going to be aimlessly scrolling through stuff or sitting there in a couch just aimlessly or unconsciously just taking in whatever is being presented. Critical thinking. Think about how does this align with me? Is this something that I stand for? And if yes, or if no, we have a lot of topics in Norway that is just literally yesterday I wrote a post on this, or a comment was like, do we not have more interesting stuff to argue about? Like, truly? We can argue about the fact that someone painted a bench in rainbow colors, or how someone stumbled into a bullet, as someone says. But we could also talk about how people are just taking everything in. So I think that for me, how to pay attention is just being aware of where your attention goes, and to be critical about what is being presented, and knowing where you want to go. Have a destination on the GPS. Be in the park and look for the side quest that is actually going to get you towards where you want to go, kind of. Yeah.
Now, what do you type into Google?
Not how to make money online, that's for sure. Or just, latest trends, or so many things. Yeah, that is a huge question. What do you type into Google? Because
exactly,
Google is,
because that is the how.
Yeah, well, is it? What do you type into which browser?
Yeah, so this is really interesting because I love this conversation, because it's very like this is very tangible, like think about it, become aware of it, right? Like analysis, see the things, and you have to go through analysis process. And so for me, that analysis process, which of course I think people who are extremely intuitive, right, we always judge because people are like, well, that's crazy, but I generally stay silent on a lot of things just because I'm completely disinterested in having conversations around it. Like I just so if we're taking it back to what we were just discussing, honestly, it runs through my intuitive system. And I had a lot of very strong feelings and like knowing that throughout that whole experience was often questioned, was often challenged. This, I guess, is also a reason why I don't really care to have long conversations with lots of people around it. But when I look back, and I love, Tor, how you said, is this aligned with my values and integrity? Because that would often come back to, you know, that source. But to be honest, it was a deeper knowing, and also the holding of paradox that I don't know, that all things are possible, that I'm willing to change and shift my perception around what is in front of me as well. So this is a very interesting time because I think I have the privilege to do that, um, which I'm very, very aware. And it's also about, yes, like what Tor is saying, the input. I'm very, very choosy about input, but also I've developed to a certain degree where I can scroll and I can be like whatever, and I can literally like it's almost like a shut off where I'm just like like the shield goes up and it's like nothing penetrates, and that's okay too. But I don't want to exist in that way. So yeah, being very selective about who I'm telling things, what conversations, who I'm having these conversations with. It was funny. I think we started with this like, Tor, did you say that? Like very often we don't go into the how. And I on purpose don't talk about the how with everyone for that reason, because we've had this discussion when I've gone into some of the how or some of like even just my technology, people would literally collapse or be extremely challenged, right? There's that aspect of it where it's very selective as to yeah, like we we're talking about who sits at the round table. It's not about being elitist, but it is. There is a degree of understanding life capacity, maybe it's a capacity thing, the ability to, for me it's that ability to hold paradox. If you cannot have a nuanced conversation, if it is polarized, if it is black and white, I'm just really not interested in that. If you're not willing to shift, you know, perspective around that. So, and that's, yeah, I'm human, so that's a challenge for me as well, but that's what I endeavor to do.
But it's so on point. Like we have seen, and this is why time and time again, like people come in and they say that I want that. No, you want that. You think you want that. It's like when people say,
"How handle what comes along with all of that?" Right?
You can't handle the truth. It's so much deeper than most people realize, right? When people say that I want a spiritual awakening, cool, good for you. Let me know when the first breakdown happens and when you're at the 15th. And you're still trying to figure out how to do that on your own, or you're trying to overload your system with everything you think. Like, if you're part of a conversation that is so beyond your normalcy, it could have physical alterations. Like it could actually make you puke. It can make you see things so hard that you're gonna have a complete breakdown, quote unquote. Not even quote unquote. Like people literally end up in worse situations because they think
it can kill you. Yes.
Yeah, and it's not like
it doesn't mean though. It doesn't mean though that it's too late for these individuals.
100%.
They simply need to shift their perspective.
Yeah, realize it's a journey.
And realize that, hey, this is too much for me. So I am lacking some theory. Let me go back to the basics. Remember the basics, understand the basics, and build myself up so that I can understand what's going on here.
Yeah. Embody the first steps before you start to. You don't run marathons when you get born. It's like you don't get born with a six pack either. Yeah.
Also, the comfort of, I mean, being comfortable with the unknown is essential. And I think that's what I have noticed in a lot of people, I mean, including myself, that has been my journey and helping others through that, and that essential like void space of learning how to have the capacity for the unknown
Mm.
and allow it to be without flipping into even a linear kind of problem solving, which has its use, absolutely. But for one, there is always another. And that's the paradox, or that, people say balance. I don't really like the word balance, but like a dance.
Yeah.
Knowing when to move with precision, with theory, with strategy, and be extremely intentional, procedural and strategic, and then knowing when to completely like stop white knuckling it and
Surrender.
let go and surrender to the unknown, because there are those parts of that journey, right, that like, you're in Disney World and you're like, oh, I think that I'm gonna go for that, I don't know, ice cream with the Mickey ears. Now we're getting to the food. I love food. But then you're like, wait a second, there's like that new ice cream over here, it's the chocolate covered banana, and we're gonna go for that, right? And so we're talking about unknown snacks, but you know what I mean? Like being open to that, because that is also, I think, when we're going back to innovation, being able to, like, we've built things because we're willing to experiment. We're willing to, quote unquote, fail. I don't believe in that. Like, you have to have things that like maybe don't work or look strange or get zero feedback and results right away in order to create the big thing, right? Like, that's how we learn. Nobody like comes out of the womb perfect and knowing everything. So there's that
Yeah.
aspect of like curiosity,
It's
and
that moving average of equilibrium.
Did you just say
Because
moving
it's-
average of equilibrium?
Yeah,
Yes.
I felt that.
Yeah, I felt that. That was a t-shirt. God damn.
Especially for you business owners, those of you who are familiar with the business cycle, with your peaks and troughs and your recessions, depressions, recoveries, and your excels. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, business people. High five to all of you out there. The moving average of equilibrium is a key part of this. And if you are unaware of what this is, it all boils down to, okay, how can I keep balance in both effort and study in order to grow whatever it is that I'm trying to achieve, whether it's business, whether it's emotions, whether it's my personal growth, personal development. It does not matter as long as you are able to scale that in an equal portion that directly relates to the amount of effort you put into whatever it is you are trying to achieve. You can move in an upward direction. You can take a positive tangent towards this, even though you have the peaks and the troughs, or as the layman would call it, the ups and downs of your life and or your business.
Yeah.
And by doing so, you get that creativity and you get that understanding of accepting the unknown.
Yeah.
Which is the best place to play.
Yeah.
I love that. Speaking of.
And I believe there's a space where, if we get into my favorite topic is time collapse, that it isn't always the amount of effort put in, like input equals output. Like that is, we're at a new level of creational possibility, I guess, where if you fine tune your input, less effort in the sense that what is the most precise thing that you put in there, and that includes, right, your when we were talking about what, like, why do you want to make money, right? A lot of people just want money for money, fine, but there's what's beneath that, right? What is the true desire? Opportunity. Sometimes it's the shadow side. Sometimes it's, I need to get the car so I feel worthy. I need to look this way because I feel that there's a deficit. So when we work on all of that, whether it's shadow or, energetic capacity, beliefs that are kind of under the hood, we're able to collapse time in terms of like our effort, because we can do a lot of efforting, right? But if you're not efforting in the right direction, your output is not going to be as juicy as, putting this in with like extreme potency, understanding what is under the hood. And then when we're talking about like visionary goals, right, the things that literally light your body on fire, that input, that's what we're talking about, right? Like that kind of input
Oh yeah.
creates an exponential result that I think that this whole conversation is around, right? Like what is the input that we're putting into?
Yeah.
I mean, where are we putting this input into? You know what I mean? The machine, but
The
yeah.
jumpstart. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What does that spark? I think this whole conversation has been that kind of catalyst. Like we kind of covered a lot of what I feel are catalysts to really potent creation when we step into that space, right?
Speaking of, we want to show you something as well. And that is going to be a little cliffhanger. I'm going to send you that afterwards. We are over time. You have to pick up.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
my daughter's friend came, so we're kind of settled. I'm
Fantastic.
gonna hop on my next call, but this has been so much fun, so illuminating. So yeah, just honoring the both of you and being able to share space and have these conversations, which are not really being had, which I think is so beautiful that we're able to have them. And yeah, I think all of us standing in the embodiment, right, of the work and hopefully inspiring others.
Hell yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Same. Because we're now entering into a new era, which I am very much looking forward to introduce you to and just show you, because you are very much a part of that. You are the core. Now we have made something that I'm not gonna disclose a lot. We have been saying things in the shorts and the social medias and all that stuff.
Here we go. It's gonna be all dramatic and
Yes.
We've been building.
We have been building a lot. Have you, for instance, just considered how to use the Declaration of Pythagoras in a way of creating life?
Like, I mean, all the time.
Yeah, C equals A squared. C
No,
squared
that's
equals
mathing.
Oh yeah, but we're gonna show you mathing in a new way. You're gonna see mathing.
Okay, please do. Please do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blown away. We have before. This is where we're talking about the how. People are talking about the recipes and all these. They're speaking from a position where most people can't follow. But in this case, we have Legcy the loomsmith, and he goes through the patterns, like the thoughts, in such a manner that is mathematically aligned, where he's actually teaching you math. I know the Declaration of Pythagoras now, and I know how to find the freaking angle of a triangle. I know how to do the roots. Yeah, it's beyond what I can explain. Incredible. But then applying these to a journey, to the algorithm of YouTube, to how to deal with haters, mathematically, like it's blowing my mind. Yes, so
I like that.
I'm going to show you something that I've never seen it in our industry, and it is taking things to such a new level of heights. Because it's
I'm so excited.
Yes, it's the GDP of the economics of the creations.
Yeah.
This Incredible. Is me having fun that you're gonna see.
Of course it is.
It's literally him having fun, and it's gonna blow your mind. Yeah. So, like, first of all, I'm just gonna. It should be like that. We are trying to make it sensible so that people know where to go, right? For anyone, if you are an innovator, we have the core. If you just want to get started, thelegcyforge.com/jump. And that's it. That's it. That we're gonna give you a taste, and I'm gonna see how you react, and I'm gonna just sit here and just smile and see how realities are changing yet again. Because now, this is like you discover oxygen before anyone else.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird
Yeah.
example, but it's so huge.
I got it.
Yes, it's so huge. It's a game-changing paradigm shift, as
Oh
we
my
like to
God.
do. You know.
Yeah.
With that
Yeah.
said, thank you so much for being here, you two, and thank you for sharing this amazing time with me.
Yeah. Thank you.
And thank you to the viewers.
Thank you to the
Yes.
viewers, like all of you watching in the year 3000 today, tomorrow. We're going to continue to do this every other Tuesday at 7 p.m. CEST in the summer and 1 p.m. EST, Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we keep
Yes.
doing these things, and we have just barely gotten started.
Yeah.
We have a lot.
And if you're listening to us in your car, please keep your eyes on the road, have a very safe time, wear your seatbelt, and follow traffic laws.
Yes. All right, guys.
All right. This is amazing.
As always, we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. Bye,
Peace.
guys.
Peace.
Gazing at the cabin, nestled neath the trees, whispers of the ancients carried by the breeze. Guitar strings are humming, firelight aglow. Legacy forgers, it's time to let go. For tonight we dive deep into realms unknown. With plant missions guidance, our spirits have grown. Tribe experience calls as the stars do shine. In this quantum dance, the universe is thine. Dragons we have battled, demons we've defied. Through the darkest valleys and mountains we've climbed. Now we stand united, warriors of the heart. For love is our armor, and this is just the start. Dragons we have battled, demons we've defied. Through the darkest valleys and mountains we've climbed. Now we stand united, warriors of the heart. For love is our armor, and this is just the start. Mystical moments as the fire crackles near. Laughter and some tears as we conquer our fear. Epic is the journey of the soul's wild ride. With the legacy forge, we take it all in stride. For tonight we ascend to dimensions so vast, embracing the future, honoring the past. Tribe experience beckons as the flames dance high. In this cosmic embrace, we touch the sky. Stories of resilience, tales of rebirth. Legacy forgers, we know our worth. From challenges faced to the love we found. In this sacred space, our spirits are unbound. There's no stop. So here by the cabin, as night turns to day, we'll remember this moment, come one day. For in the heart of nature, with the fire's warm embrace, we found our true calling in this mystical space.